So it looks like the drama between Shamea and Porsha has gone from bad to worse. We've definitely gone from yo mama tried to sleep with my daddy and yo mama tried to sleep with your daddy's brother to now we have added another pastor into the mix. Yes, another pastor. So we're going to talk about the latest accusations that Porsha has thrown at Shamea. This occurred late last night. And I was just sitting there like, what in the world is going on? We also got an update on the Brat versus Deb. We found some information out about this pregnancy with regards to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And we've got a little bit of extra Beverly Hills tea. So stick around for the end. Let me tell you something. The tea is hot today. So we got to talk about a lot of things, right? So first things first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Clap that like button. Yes, I said clap it, smack it up, flip it, and rub it down. Do all the things because guess what, y'all? It's free. Now let's get into the biz not E. All right, so Porsha came with the tweet last night, and shout out to our friends over at Reality Chat. This is one of the first places where I saw it. So Porsha says, wait, just catching up here in the Bahamas. Yo, I can't believe there are actually people talking about my mother and mentioning my daughter in a negative way. Was this really worth it? Now, for me, I didn't take any of the discussion about her daughter in a negative way, but I don't necessarily know what all the people are saying. I think that they are probably more or less speaking about the accusation regarding your mother, but I don't think I've heard anything negative about her daughter, just from the sense of, well, is it okay for the daughters to be around each other or at Shamea's house? I think that that was more or less the question because that's what the original question stemmed from. So then Porsha says, Shamea took this way too far. You're not innocent while you've got people discussing my mom because of a lie you told on this show. So I'm wondering, is she saying that the lie is about the mom allegedly trying to sleep with the daddy, Shamea's daddy? Anyway, she says, if we're going to discuss it, keep it between us. Now, let's discuss you. Sleeping with your manager, who's married to one of your high school friends, as well as a pastor in Decatur, who's 100% on your roster, along with many more. Hashtag let's go. Hashtag Real Housewives of Atlanta. So my immediate thought when I first read this was, okay, so the burden of proof is really going to lie with Porsha in this instance, because we have another pastor in the mix here. Like, we had a pastor with regards to Kelly and those accusations. Then it was a Nigerian pastor. Then it was the Nigerian pastor who was also Phaedra's client. Is this the same pastor? Are Kelly and Shamea allegedly sharing a pastor, praying to the pastor, praying with the pastor, and then somehow becoming pen pals and more with the pastor? I don't know. And the pastor's in Decatur, it's just so much. And it just makes me feel like, is it just that these women on this particular show are just able to kind of throw out accusations, and then do you have receipts to go along with this accusation? That really is my question as soon as I read this, right? And then if you knew about all of this why now? I mean, I guess the same could be said for the Shamea and the mom of it all, but still, I'm like, y'all, this is going a little bit further than what I would have expected. I felt like y'all had pretty much leveled each other out by the end of the episode, but Porsha said, you know what? No, I'm not done. I am not done with you. So I've not heard anything from Shamea's side with regards to any of these accusations, but somebody in the comment section did tag Britt Edie and say enter the chat. So I don't know. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys think of all this? Do you think that this is turnabout being fair play, or do you feel like things have gotten to a point where we have reached the lowest of the low? Let us know in the comments. Okay. All right. So we've got more. Remember Brat and Deb had been going at it about that show Deb's House? Well, Deb had clapped back, and this was a couple of days ago. And Deb had posted this photo from November 20th of 2014. She says, I've been doing this, opening doors for others and creating opportunities. This is from my original boot camp show in 2014 before growing up hip hop, where I allowed Brat to be my guest judge. Stop lying on me. You need clicks and views. Now, this is in response to the Brat coming out and saying that she heard that Deb was pitching Deb's House and was surprised because they had come up with a boot camp style show together. Deb had later come out and said that Deb's House was actually a new idea and was not really a boot camp show. But y'all, Deb's House feels to me like a boot camp show. Now, maybe I'm wrong in my understanding of what a boot camp is, but it feels like they are one and the same. So Deb then goes back and she says, she posts the treatment. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what a treatment is, this is a good idea of what you want to present when you are pitching a show. I'm going to run through a little bit of it for you guys so you have an understanding. Obviously, it says author Deb Antney, title B100 Boot Camp. I don't really like that title, so I'm glad that they switched that. But the format is reality competition series, 60 minutes. Usually ends up being about 42, but if it's going to streaming, it could be a little longer. Television formats are usually 42 minutes for an hour-long show because you got to add in commercial time. And then with formats on streaming services nowadays, they can be pretty much any length that you want, depending on what the agreements are with the show. The logline is basically a one-line sentence or a grouping of sentences, like a really, really short blurb about what the show is all about. Let's say it's a great elevator pitch. So the logline reads, music industry powerhouse Brat Antney returns to reclaim the lost art of artist development by putting undiscovered talent through the ultimate music boot camp. Guided by legendary hip hop icons, contestants must prove that they have the talent, discipline, and star power to become tomorrow's biggest superstar. The treatment, now this is actually a short treatment in my opinion. This would usually be, in my estimation, what we would see as a synopsis. The treatment is typically a little longer. But the treatment reads, the music industry has changed, but one thing hasn't. True stars are developed, not discovered overnight. B100 Boot Camp is a high-stakes reality competition series created by legendary music executive Brat Antney. After helping launch the careers of some of music's biggest names, Deborah believes today's artists are missing one critical ingredient: artist development. She searches nationwide for raw talent and puts contestants through an intense boot camp where talent alone isn't enough. I do believe that artist development is needed nowadays because I don't really think you have enough of that. She says the mentors, this is where it gets interesting to note. The mentors are featured, she suggests, Brat, Bone Crusher, Scarface, Mia X, Angie Stone, Lil Jon, Babs, Trina, and Brandon Barnes. So when you look at this photo here, this is probably a clip from a sizzle, which is like a short episode that might have been filmed to show executives exactly what the show would look like. All right. So following that, the Brat was on the Rickey Smiley morning show. Shout out to our friends over at the Jasmine Brand. Now, this just recently happened. Now, during the show, she says that she and Deb developed the idea together and pitched it to WeTV, which passed. I do believe this. Then later, when Brat contacted an executive about presenting the concept, she was told Deb is pitching it to me today. Okay. So Brat says, I was hurt because Deb allegedly never called or texted before moving on with apparently this iteration of the show. And after watching Deb's house, Brat said the series looked very similar to the show ideas that we put together. Now, Brat then goes on to say that she's not claiming ownership, saying some ideas are hers and some are mine, and collectively we came up with that show. Now, Deb had denied stealing anything and accused Brat of seeking clicks and views, and Brat said that she and her wife financed their own series on Facebook and they do not need her clicks and views. She says, ma'am, I don't need clicks and views. We own our show. We can sell it. We can license it. We can do whatever we want to with it. Now, for those of you guys that don't understand what the licensing part of means, that they can go and take that show to another network and that network will pay to license the show for a period of time, and then they will get the monies from that, which is not a bad concept, especially if you own your own platform. This is why I tell y'all all the time to own something, own your own content in some way, shape, or form. Debrat says, I don't want nothing from Deb or any type of feud. She says, I just felt betrayed. She says, we don't talk. We never have to talk, and that's fine with me. Now, what I do wonder though is, does she have some type of legal recourse if she chose to? That is what I don't know, but I'm assuming she has determined that it's just not just worth the effort and to be able to see the situation for what it truly is. And I'm sure at this point, she just doesn't trust Deb anymore. Let me know what you guys think. And will you guys be watching season 3 of Deb's House? I will. Okay, I gotta actually watch season 2 because y'all told me it was out. All right, some other little bit of news that we've got for you guys. Shout out to our friends over at No Chaser. Cynthia Bailey did confirm on her podcast, Humble Brag, that someone did announce their pregnancy at the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. Now, at the end of the day, we did hear this from Claudia Jordan. I do believe Claudia, just like I do believe Cynthia as well, obviously. And when asked directly, because Crystal, her co-host, asked directly if it was Pinky Cole, Cynthia was like, that's what you've heard? Because she was asking what about any rumors that you've heard. And Crystal was like, well, this is what the streets are saying. Cynthia does confirm it is someone on the other side of the couch. She does not confirm who it is, but she does say it is someone from the other side, which means that it could only be between K. Michelle, Kelly, Shamea, and Pinky Cole. Now, most people are assuming that it is Pinky Cole, but what I have noticed is that K. Michelle has not been posting a lot recently. Now, I don't know if that is for any other reason than she just might be busy recording, or she's constantly touring and constantly in the studio, but I just hadn't seen a lot of her posting except for posts about the show. Like on show day, she'll post something for the show, but outside of that, I don't really see a lot from K. Michelle. So I found that very interesting as well. And finally, when talking about this whole arrest between Marcellas Wiley was arrested there are so many allegations against him from former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Anne-Marie Wiley, and she wants him out of the house. There's so much happening. But Crystal reveals that on their season that Anne-Marie was starring on, that she and Garcelle asked production to not allow him to attend the reunion because there was seemingly some level of perceived aggression that they were feeling, and they did not feel safe with him coming to the set. So at that point, it was that none of the men were allowed to come to the set in general, just to make it a blanket statement type situation. Shout out to our friends over at BravoSnarkside for this bit of intel. But this also came to us from the Humble Brag podcast with Crystal and with Cynthia. So even back then, because we knew that there were allegations that were out there about him back then, the women on the show, particularly Crystal and Garcelle, did not feel safe with having him around. So that's a little bit of extra intel that I don't think that we ever knew at the time, but it has just come out and it was confirmed by Crystal herself. Now, with that all being said, that's all the news that we got for you guys right now. Let us know what you think about each one of these stories, and how do you feel about this whole situation with Porsha and Shamea. What do you think that Shamea should do next? Should she say anything or should she clap back? Let us know in the comment section down below, and I will catch you, of course, in the next video.